Am I the asshole for refusing to get a second job? My husband and I both started our own businesses 20 years ago. They were moderately successful in that. We weren't rich, but our financial needs have always been met up until the last 5 years. My husband's business is what most would consider a luxury service. When times are tough, people do without said service. My husband tried several things to keep his business afloat, including taking out some loans, and made some bad investments that have left us in not the best financial state. At this point, it costs more to operate his business than he is profiting from it. The writing has been on the wall the past several months, and he's finally agreed it's time to close the doors. Now, I totally understand that this is something that is upsetting to him. This business was his dream, and you can't just let go of that mentally in a snap, especially not after 20 years. I have been very supportive and let him vent. I have encouraged him to go to therapy, though he has turned me down. I want to be as sensitive as possible. I wish my business were enough to keep us afloat until he was ready to figure out what he wanted to do next. Unfortunately, with all the bills we have, we can't afford for him to sit around and not do anything. Neither of us went to college, which does mean his options are limited. Going back to school isn't financially possible right now, nor does he want to do that. He'd have to have a boss, potentially work weekends and weird hours, all the things you get to avoid when you have your own business of 20 years. I get why this isn't appealing to him, but unfortunately, it's what he has to do. My husband has really pushed back on getting a new job. I've tried to be as sympathetic as possible, but again, we can't afford for him to sit home all day. We've talked about it several times. I show sympathy and empathy. I, again, tell him to seek therapy. It always ends in an argument where I am told I am being unreasonable. The other day, my sister-in-law, his brother's wife, came over to talk to me. She spoke to me as if I were 5 years old and said I needed to give him a break. She said that I cannot expect him to go back to having a boss after 20 years. She suggested that I get a second job. With the hours I work, I'd never get to see my kids or husband at that point. I said I'm not going to do that. If my business went under, of course I'd go and get a different job, but it is unreasonable for everyone to expect me to work all these hours while my husband does nothing. His help with the housework and the kids has dropped since he had to close the business, so I doubt me working would change that, so I'd be working 7 days a week, plus all that. My sister-in-law just kept telling me that this is a sacrifice I should be making and that I am being unreasonable. Everyone else seems to agree, including my husband. I feel insane. Am I the asshole for not wanting to get a second job and expecting him to get one? Explain to me exactly how it is unreasonable to want my husband to contribute a fair share to the family income and/or workload. Explain to me exactly how it is reasonable to expect me to get a second job while there is a perfectly able-bodied person who's basically just sitting his ass on the couch. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He thinks he is now above working, so you should be 100% responsible for finances. If you are willing to take that on, why do you need him? He is treating you like a mother figure and acting like a helpless baby. He needs to step up. And getting his family to gang up on you? Oh heck no. Not the asshole at all. He can't be expected to have a boss after 20 years. You can't be expected to lose your financial security, time, energy, and maybe your home to his pity party. Not the asshole. Wait, so he is the one who has a failing business and is now not working at all, but it's you who needs to get a second job? Make it make sense. Not the asshole. Your SIL came to talk to you. What level of fresh hell nonsense is this? It's distressing and sad when a business folds, but unfortunately that's life. Why on earth would you work yourself to an early grave whilst your husband is being Marty at home? Time for a coming to whomever conversation. It is adult time. He must work to help the family survive. Period. Feeling sorry for himself does not buy groceries. He was obviously alive and working during the Great Recession of 2008 plus. This should not be new information. I would definitely say get a second job, like many of us did, if and only if both of you were working at least one. At this point, he just wants to leech. Not acceptable. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for packing something I shouldn't have when I helped my friend move? I helped my friend pack a U-Haul to move to another state. It's a long drive, about 12 hours. This is relevant. He asked me to box up everything in the closet. The closet was full of a lot of random items. Old hardware, old mail, empty boxes, instruction manuals, etc. It was not tidy. There was a lot of stuff haphazardly tossed in there. I packed up the closet and went on my way. A few days later he texts me asking if I boxed up the thermostat in the closet. I said I wasn't sure. I don't remember specifically putting a thermostat in the box, but I definitely emptied the closet completely. Anything in the closet was packed unless it was clearly garbage. He replied, irritated, saying, "I'm not upset with you or blaming you, but god damn it, my name." There was a Nest thermostat box right next to a rinky-dink-ass thermostat that was out in the open, loudly crying face. So, now the old thermostat is packed away in the U-Haul, but it belongs to the landlord. So he needs to find a way to reinstall it or presumably be charged for a new one, plus labor. And he was blaming me for packing it away, claiming that I should have gleaned that this item I packed, the thermostat, did not belong to him based on the fact that it was adjacent to an empty box for a Nest thermostat. I knew he had smart thermostats in the house, but I did not know that they were his. I responded and said, "There was a ton of random stuff in there. I had no way of knowing what you wanted to keep and what you wanted to toss, or what was supposed to go with what. You told me to pack the whole thing up, and I did. You say you're not blaming me, but you low-key are implying I should have known, and I disagree." He said, "I think it's more of a common sense kind of thing, but it's fine. I'll fly back to maybe clean this place up and turn in the keys, and I'll install the thermostat when I do that." This really upset me, especially considering I went out of my way to help him move. He did technically apologize, but I sensed he was still irritated. I let it go and moved on. Fast forward to today. He is talking about how he may need to fly back just to put the thermostat back. I offered to install it myself if he would mail it to me. As we were discussing this, he commented, "Yeah, it's fine. I know you probably just did it because of your ADHD. Edit. The reason I did not challenge him on this comment in the moment, even though I was very hurt, was because immediately after he made this comment, he followed it up with, "Look, can we just drop this and move on?" There was an awkward silence, and he changed the topic. This comment was upsetting to me because it confirmed my suspicion that he still blames me for packing away the thermostat and believes I should have known better, or something. I am really annoyed by this situation. I don't feel I should need to take responsibility for his mistake. I did telling me to box up the whole closet when he evidently had something in there he wanted to keep. Am I the asshole for packing up the thermostat? Yeah, no, not the asshole. This reads to me like your friend realized way too late that he fucked up, and his ego demanded that he make it someone else's fault. You did exactly as asked, and what he's saying you should have pulled from the ether as a deduction is nonsense. NTS, and to blame your ADHD when the situation is clearly their fault is ghastly. Not the asshole unless you have a well-known and established talent for mind reading. Not the asshole. I would have assumed the thermostat was his. I disagree with him that it's a common sense thing. If someone instructs me to box up everything in the closet, I will follow their instruction to the letter. I will pack everything that's not nailed down. Hell, you even tried to determine what was rubbish and what was not, which is more than I would have done. It's not for me to look at an item and say, I can't see what use that would be to anyone, so into the bin it goes. I'd be too anxious that I'm throwing out something he wanted kept. I figure, if it's genuinely rubbish, he can toss it out when he unpacks. I might make an exception for the dead rodent that I find in the closet. On the other hand, maybe he's planning on taking up taxidermy. Not the asshole, since when does helping someone move include packing up their belongings? Your friend is an asshole for asking that of you, and an asshole again for blaming you for his own irresponsibility. Not the asshole. Who the hell has their friends pack for them? I've had friends help me move, but I've already packed up the boxes. This is on him, and not on you at all. This isn't a real friend based on how he talks to you anyway. Am I the asshole for telling my coworker I'm not surprised his wife divorced him? I, 20 female, was recently told by my coworker, 40 male, that he and his wife, 37 female, were getting divorced. For context, they had just gotten married last year after dating his wife for 10 years. I've worked at this job since I was 16, and this coworker has become my closest work friend, so I was first to know of the engagement and now of the divorce. We bonded over our shared love of video games. This is relevant, I swear. We both played a lot of games and would talk about the ones we loved the most. In the time I've known him, he's loved Final Fantasy XIV, which is an online game you play with other people. He talked about this game and the people he would hang out with in the game constantly, talking about the hours he spends playing it every day. Shortly after he and his wife had gotten married, he started complaining about her and her neediness. When I asked about it, he would say she wanted him to spend time with her instead of playing video games. I had told him at the time that he should be making time for his wife, but he ignored me. Over the next year, he was constantly complaining about her and her neediness, and I would suggest taking some time off of his game to hang out with her, but my idea was always shut down. Eventually I got fed up with him and asked him to stop bringing it up with me, and he did for about 2 months. That's when he told me about her asking for a divorce. I casually mentioned that I wasn't surprised that she was divorcing him, seeing as he loved Final Fantasy more than her. I didn't really think before I spoke, and just said what I had been thinking every time he brought up his relationship problems. He was shocked at my response and seemed taken aback. I continued saying all you ever talk about are video games, and everything you ever told me about your wife was negative. He got very upset with me and complained about it to our other coworkers and our boss. We work in a kitchen with only about 10 staff members, so it wasn't too long before everybody knew about what I said. Our boss stayed out of it, not seeing my comment as bad enough to warrant any kind of action. Some of my coworkers around my age, who also frequently talked with this coworker, took my side, while the older ones took his. It has divided the kitchen staff, and has made it uncomfortable to work with some of my coworkers who think I'm in the wrong. So, AITA for saying I wasn't surprised about my coworker's divorce? Not the asshole. Why is a 40-year-old dropping all his relationship drama on a 20-year-old? Was he hoping to get with you if he complained enough? And he's been your closest friend at work since you were 16? That's just all kinds of ick. He is 40 years old and acting like a petulant child and going to tell on you because he didn't like what you said. I'd limit all my interactions with him because he doesn't take your advice and then narcs on you. You told the truth. He was a shitty husband and his wife left because she deserves better than someone who doesn't meet her needs and complains about her. Sounds like they dated for 10 years and she hoped marriage would cure him and make him a decent partner, and it didn't. OMG, how is this man 40 years old? Not the asshole. You nailed it. The only mystery is why, after 10 years dating, she didn't realize his first love was FFXIV. Isn't the point of dating to learn things like that? Not the asshole. If you don't want to hear you solicited opinions, don't keep telling people your life story unsolicited. Shocker. His wife got tired of his being an inconsiderate partner. He chose to talk to you about it, so he was basically soliciting your feedback. I think it will die down, but might be wise to distance yourself from this guy. Not the asshole. He's got a lot of growing up to do for a 40 years old. I agree with you. His wife was right to divorce him. Face with rolling eyes. Not the asshole. He wants to drop his complaints on you. Then thank you from all of us for telling Captain Clueless the obvious before he divorces and dates some other poor woman and whines again. Am I the asshole? I let me child watch K-pop Demon Hunters. I let child, in grade 1, watch K-pop Demon Hunters. My child has watched at both my house and my co-parent ex's house and with multiple family members. This morning my ex flipped out demanding that our child should not be watching anymore because she found the lyrics in one song. How it's done, questionable. The movie is rated PG. I said my child would be allowed to watch with me. If she has a problem with how it's done, but is fine with soda pop, like they literally sing about how they want to eat people el mayo, then she truly is silly. It's a kid's movie. 99.9% of kids do not understand the adult undertones of kids' media, and if they have questions, simple conversation at their level is usually more than enough. Let kids enjoy things. Not the asshole. You're golden. My kid's school PTA is doing a K-pop Demon Hunters sing-along viewing party as a fundraiser for grades PK3. It is sold out. You are not the outlier from the norm here for allowing your kiddo to watch it. It's literally a kid's animated movie. They are the asshole for stopping you and your child. Not sure how old you are, but have you seen the cartoons we watched in the 80s? Your child would know it from other people. This is one of those huge cultural phenomenons that she won't avoid. Your ex is silly. Not the asshole.